As you guys can see, we are getting more than 100 FPS while emulating Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu on a Mali GPU Android device. Let's get started. Yo, what's up guys, it's ApTreX here. Today in this video, we'll be testing out the Ziunx Nintendo Switch emulator on a low-end Android device with Mali GPU. In my last video, I got many comments from you guys telling me to test it out on a low-end device. So right here, you guys can see I have a MediaTek processor Dimensity 8000 with Mali G610 GPU. So it has an Mali GPU and you will be able to see it only has 6 GB of RAM, out of which available RAM is only 1.2 GB, so 23%. It is worse than having a 3 GB RAM Android device. Anyways, for today's video, I'll be using my Redmi K50i, which you guys have already seen in many of my MediaTek processor emulation testing videos. Nintendo Switch emulation doesn't really work well on this Android device. We get very low FPS, but let's apply the best settings inside the Ziunx emulator, and I'll also talk about can you use this emulator for now, the beta testing and much more. I have disabled the limit speed percentage, and in terms of resolution, we'll set it to 0.5x, which should be used on low-end Android devices. Other than that, in terms of aspect ratio, we'll keep it to stretch to window. Let's scroll down. This shader cache, make sure to enable it. Force maximum clocks, it only works with Adreno GPU, so it's not of any use. We have also enabled asynchronous shaders option, and those are going to be the graphics settings. In terms of debug, API is set to Vulkan, CPU backend is native code execution, and that's about it. Now, in terms of Ziunx emulators Mali GPU compatibility, the developer is claiming that it provides better performance, and in terms of GPU driver manager, you will be able to see you can't really use any graphics driver as devices with Mali GPU are unsupported, so it includes Exynos, MediaTek and other processors. With that being said, let's start out by testing out Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, which I have tested out in multiple emulators on this device, and none of them were able to give me an playable experience. Most of the time, I only got 3 to 5 FPS while emulating this game on my MediaTek processor Android device. Anyways, make sure to turn on player 1 controls and set the controller type to handheld, or else the on-screen touch controls will not work in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Anyways, immediately I am seeing some surprising results. We are getting almost 80 to 120 FPS while emulating this game on our Android device, and this is very surprising because I have tested out the same game on the Suyu emulator, inside which during the beginning cutscene I was only getting like 20 to 30 FPS at most, which means that during the beginning cutscene only I am seeing impressive results. So I can't wait to go inside game to find out how much FPS can we actually get while emulating this game on a Mali GPU Android device. Mali GPUs aren't even supposed to be compatible with emulators, though the developer is claiming that he has worked hard to improve performance in both Mali and Snapdragon processor Android device. So now that the cutscene is almost over, let's get started with our first gameplay test. Afterwards, we'll try out different games like Pokemon Sword, One Piece Red Deluxe and much more. Let's go. And here's our today's Google Play Store gift card redeem code giveaway, which I am doing daily on my channel. If you also want to participate, then be the first one to redeem this code. For that, subscribe and turn on all notification. Anyways, as you guys can see, inside Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu on an Mali device, we are getting almost 100 FPS at least inside house, which is very impressive. I was only getting like 20 FPS when I tested out this game on Suyu emulator, whereas inside this emulator we are getting really amazing FPS, and in outside world scenarios I was getting only 3 FPS in Suyu emulator on the same device, whereas on the Ziunx emulator we are seeing anywhere from 15 to 30 FPS, which is more than playable experience. And honestly, I am literally blown away. I didn't expect this at all, but Mali GPUs are also supported in this emulator. And some people may comment saying that this is a fake video. No bro, you can literally see at the top left corner it says NC/Mali, which proves that I am emulating this game on a Mali GPU Android device. Anyways, I would also like to tell you guys that this emulator is currently still in its beta stages, so you can't really try it out, but there is a public build available on Telegram. I won't recommend it though, because as I told you guys before, it's closed source. So I recommend you guys should wait until it has been officially published on its GitHub page, and it should be open source, because we can't really trust these emulators nowadays after what happened with Box Vidra. Anyways, let's start off by testing out Pokemon Sword as well. Now, one thing which I noticed while testing Pokemon Sword on this emulator was the fact that this game just crashed inside the Ziunx emulator, which means that the compatibility of this emulator hasn't been improved for Mali GPU Android devices. It's the same like Yuzu emulator. The only thing that has been improved is performance in both Mali and Adreno GPU Android devices, and I tried it multiple times, it didn't work. So let's move on towards the One Piece Unlimited World. As Ziunx is a forked version of Yuzu emulator, it's disappointing that the games that were incompatible for Mali GPU Android devices in the Yuzu emulator are also incompatible in the Ziunx emulator, and You guys saw Unlimited World did not work, and Pokemon Legends Arceus also does not work. But inside the other emulators like Suyu Sudachi, if you try it out on a Mali GPU Android device, you will face lot of crashing issues while testing games, which does not happen with this emulator. So it's very surprising. And when I was testing out games on my Mali GPU Android device, I didn't see any heating issues, so that's pretty good as well. The thermals felt pretty decent, whereas if I tested it out on a Snapdragon processor Android device, my device was getting hot. So I would recommend you guys to just wait until this emulator has been officially released on GitHub or somewhere else where it can be reviewed by professionals. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. Though the last game which we are testing is Sonic Mania, and obviously it will work without any issues at straight up 60 FPS, no crashing issues, nothing like that. The limit speed percentage has been once again enabled, that's why we are not getting more than 60 FPS by the way. So yeah, it does work properly, but only games that will work on the Ziunx emulator on a Mali GPU with better performance are the games that were supported for Mali GPU in Yuzu emulator as well. That's the conclusion of our today's video. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on all notification, as I'll keep you guys up to date with all the latest emulation updates. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.